to our first episode of Always Up to Date. My name is Yahweh Matugines and I'm with my colleague Denise Mitra, and we're here to talk about why you need a bookkeeper. So since this is our first video, I wanted to do some introductions. Again, my name is Yahweh. I am working in a public accounting firm, and I've worked in public practice for about 3 years now. I'm also in the CPA program doing the first module. So Denise, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Denise. I also work in an accounting firm. I've been working here for about almost 7 years now. We actually opened Always Bookkeeping about 8 months ago, and Yahweh and I took over probably 2 months ago. So we're excited to start that adventure and just again starting our always up-to-date videos and just kind of trying to get you more informed about who we are and just some things about hiring bookkeepers.
Absolutely. So for these episodes, we normally would start with a quote, and then we give you some statistics that's related to the quote, and we'll give you a little bit of a story based on our actual experiences. So our quote for today is from Jim Collins. He's the author of 6 books. And the quote is, "Great vision without great people is irrelevant." And our statistics, 50% of Canadian business fail and only 11% seek professional help. So Denise, why don't you tell us kind of like a horror story that's related to our topic today?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, Yahweh, we've had clients that have come in they drive around in their truck, that's their office, and they have their receipts, they just kind of throw them in to their truck or just shove them in a bag or a box, and they come into the office with these bags and boxes shoved full of receipts, maybe some bank statements, and they've received a letter from the CRA and they're getting audited, and now they don't know what to do. And so they brought us this big mess of receipts to deal with.
Yeah, this is actually very common. So I have some questions that we have laid out that you should be asking when you are trying to hire a bookkeeper. So the first one is, can being disorganized cause you to file late and trigger penalties?
Yeah, for sure. Being disorganized, you get this letter from the CRA and they're asking for a certain period of time, and now we've got this bag full of receipts, a box full of receipts. We have to go through them and try to figure out which ones relate to which period and if it's what the CRA is looking for. Lots of times there's receipts missing. And for sure, if we don't get that stuff into the CRA on time, they're going to give you a penalty for sure.
Absolutely. So how long does CRA normally give you to respond to an audit query? So
normally what the CRA does is they're going to send you a letter. You're going to get it in the mail, and it's going to tell you that you have 30 days from the day that it was mailed or that you received it. I think it's from the date of the letter.
It is from
from the date of the letter. So you have 30 days. Sometimes you can get an extension. Maybe 2 weeks, but the CRA doesn't really like extensions, and they don't really give them to you very often.
Absolutely. Is it true that if you don't respond, they will assess you tax as they deem fit?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of people think that if they just ignore it, it'll just go away. They don't have to worry about it, but the CRA isn't going to let it go away. If you don't respond to it, then they're just going to go with what they think is right. They look at what you did in the prior year, and they'll base it on that. So it's really important to get that information into them on time.
And actually, now that I think about it, a great example of it is GST. When they give you a GST pre-assessment before you file, they predetermine the number of or the cost of how much you need to pay even before you file your returns. So I think it'll be the same case for an audit query. If you don't respond to them, they will already have that amount even before you file, or you don't file.
Yeah, right.
So is it costlier to file at year-end with your accountant if you're disorganized?
Yeah, absolutely. again, here we have these boxes of receipts. Now we have to have somebody that goes through the boxes or the bags and try to decide what receipts are relevant, if they're actually part of this particular year end that we're dealing with. So your accountant is gonna charge you for that time that they're spending organizing your box of receipts. Where if you had a bookkeeper that had it all organized for you beforehand, you just take it into your accountant, much less time that they're going to need to use up, and so then your bill at the end of the day is going to be a lot cheaper.
For sure. Does waiting to year end to review transactions create inaccuracies?
Yeah, absolutely. Usually you can remember what you've done in the last 2 weeks, but you might not remember what you did a year ago. Again, you can lose receipts so easily. Chances of you losing them in 2 weeks, again, a lot less than if you wait for a year. You don't know, sometimes you don't think that receipt is relevant and you just pitch it out or whatever. So absolutely it can create inaccuracies.
What information is available on an interim balance sheet from your bookkeeper?
Yeah, so the interim balance sheet, it should have your cash, it'll have your what people owe you, so your accounts receivable, it's going to have your assets, maybe like you're the one that's got the truck, and that's you use that for your business all the time. It's going to show on your balance sheet. It's going to show how much that cost, how much it's depreciated. It's going to show, your balance sheet is also going to show you what you owe people. Maybe you have loans for that truck or other loans for your business. That's all going to be on the balance sheet.
Absolutely. What information is available on an income statement from your bookkeeper?
So the income statement, it's going to have your revenue at the top. It's going to have, and then it's going to have possibly cost of goods sold, and then your expenses. And of course, it's going to show you the profit that you've made.
Is a well-organized income statement easy to read?
Yeah, absolutely. So if your bookkeeper has your income statement organized really well, what you should be able to see is you should be able to see your revenue, like I said, and then your cost of goods sold, and then you have your expense accounts. And your expense accounts should be numerically descending, so that when you're looking at it, you look at the top item and see that that's the thing that you spend the most money on. So that you're not looking, focused on, say, bank charges that really in the whole scheme of things is irrelevant. The other thing about a good income statement is if it's only one page. It should just be one page long. There shouldn't be a whole bunch of different expense accounts that, interest and bank charges, they can go into one account. You don't need a whole bunch of different accounts for bank charges or different types of interest charges.
Yeah, because some of them actually, they may distract you from actually getting the information that you need from these reports, right?
Yeah.
So will it help me understand how much I can pay myself?
Yeah, for sure. If you have your income statement planned out, if it's well organized, again, you're seeing how much you've made and how much you're spending. So you'll be able to see how much you can pay yourself or how much more work you need to go out and do to get some more money to pay yourself.
Absolutely. So you can't just base it on how much you have in the bank.
Right.
Because again, the balance sheet and the income statement go hand in hand. The income statement shows you how much you're making throughout the corporation. The balance sheet actually gives you the information on what your financial position is at the moment, right?
That's right.
So it's very important to know and to understand these reports before you make the decisions of paying yourself or paying other people or your employees.
Yeah, that's right.
So does having a bookkeeping throughout the year allow you to make better decisions? Oh,
absolutely. So when you're a business owner, you're making decisions day by day. So some of those decisions, you can't wait till your year end to make that decision. If you don't have your bookkeeping in order, how do you know if you can afford to buy that new truck or to hire a new employee, or if you need to get out there and do some more work so that you can get some more revenue to pay yourself? Definitely, if you have that bookkeeping up to date throughout the year, those decisions are way easier to make. They just, you can see what it is that you have in your business.
Yeah.
And you can decide then if that decision is appropriate for that time, or maybe you just need to leave it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you have employees that you pay bi-weekly. You
Right.
can't just depend on how much is it in the bank, or are you doing bank reconciliations regularly? You have to make sure that the checks that are outstanding will clear before you even pay your employees, because at the end of the day you need to operate the business and make sure you have enough cash to sustain your business, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I think that's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed our first episode. Please click like and subscribe to learn more information about our business or just bookkeeping in general. And I'll see you or talk to you guys later.